Announced she's Paul's sister. He's one of the Flotilla members, Paul Reed. We'll also have Veterans for Peace, Dan Shea, speak, and then we'll get closing remarks from Saeed Qasim, who's the Beaverton board member. So what's going on? So since 2007, Gaza has been under siege by Israel, and they instigated a legal blockade, even with the assistance of Egypt, but primarily it's Israel's legal blockade of Gaza. So they're controlling what can and can't go in there, which is essentially nothing. Since that time, in the last 2 years, over 60,000 people have been killed. Most are women and children. As everybody here probably is aware of, and they know, like, children are starving. Men, women, and children are starving, and hospitals have been destroyed, buildings have been destroyed, humanitarian aid workers have been targeted, doctors and journalists. These are civilians that face critical shortages right now of food, medicine, fuel, clean water. So international law is clear that humanitarian aid is always legal and it must be allowed. And blocking it violates the Geneva Conventions, the United Nations laws on open seas, Convention on the Laws of the Open Seas, and the Rome Statute, which other people kind of know it as the International Criminal Court. So I just want to make it clear that every flotilla member who is part of this mission has made a pledge of nonviolence. And 2 Oregonians are currently on this mission. That's another reason why we called you here at the last minute tonight, because they're actually on their way, I believe, from Crete, and are headed now toward Gaza. So they're on the last leg of their trip. It's Stephen is one of them, and the other is Paul Reed, who's Rachel's brother. They're basically, risking drone attacks, raids, and, as I said, possible imprisonment. There you go. So I want to. Can everybody see that better?
Yeah.
Brandy, can you get closer to the mic? Yeah, the mic.
Get closer to the mic.
Yeah.
Can everybody see that all right now?
Now.
Okay. Can everybody hear me okay? So in roughly 2007 and 2008, there was a mission, I think it was called Gaza Free Mission, I believe, which was one of the earliest missions to try to get people to get aid to Gaza. And they were actually successful early on. I think there was 2 boats initially. Tom, you were on one of those boats, is that well? And we actually have an esteemed flotilla member here because he's one of the few people who actually made it to Gaza with some aid. And of course it's mainly symbolic, but he actually did, and alhamdulillah that he was able to do that. In 2010, there were 9 civilians were killed in the Mavi Marmara raid. I believe that was a Turkish ship. I believe there was 1 individual who was from the U.S. The ICC, International Criminal Court, has since issued arrest warrants for Prime Minister Netanyahu and the Defense Minister Gallant for war crimes, including deliberate starvation. The ICJ has also ruled genocide, has ruled what we all know to be true. Genocide is plausible. So what we want to do this evening is have a call to action, and I want to flip to this slide real quick if I can here. Just see if we got it here. We're gonna put up a slide afterwards, and we want to ask you when this presentation is done to stick around, and we actually want to treat this as a phone bank party, is what they call it. My wife is part of the phone bank, so we want you to actually look at the numbers that we're going to give you for specific council members, representatives, senators, and tonight, because we can't wait any longer. We want you to try to leave a message, send a message, and we'll give you some sample things that you can say. They're just some very simple things that you can say. So I think at this point I want to turn it over to my friend, my mentor. I call him my hero, Tom, because all he did. And I want to thank him. Before I go, I want to thank some other people, even though Wesley's not here, but I want to thank MET for allowing this forum for this event. I want to thank Nadia for her work in organizing this. I want to thank Brother Pete, who's standing back here, because he was a critical part of this and all his networking. And I want to thank Tom, for his volunteerism in the past and being such a good example. He's always been a good example to me, but to all of us, and for all his input that he can give, like his valuable input that he can give and experience. I also want to thank Rachel for showing up. I think that's good to give that personal touch, because we all have Stephen and Paul's best interest at heart. That's what we want. That's what all of us on this legal team are trying to do. We're trying to make them safe, and we're trying to hold these people who are doing what they're doing accountable in any way that we can, which is difficult. And lastly, I just want to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Tom.
Thank you, and brief announcement here. I just came back from Tunisia not too long ago. Unfortunately, I'm not on a boat, but I'm glad to be here. But I brought back with me a special door prize for tonight. It is an extra large U.S. delegation. We called ourselves the Global Movement to Gaza USA, and this is an official T-shirt of the Americans that are on the boats that are over there now that are heading toward Gaza. This will be a door prize later, so stick around. That's to keep you here. I also want to turn it over now. Thanks for those kind words, Brandon. Not all true, but they're appreciated anyway. I want to turn it over now to Rachel. Rachel Fazio, who is the sister of Paul Reed, who is, I got to know very well in Tunisia, as a matter of fact. I never met him here. Come on up, Rachel. And Rachel wants to tell you a little bit about her experience through Paul, and a little bit about Paul too. He's a truly amazing young man. Everybody's young compared to me, so. But she has quite a story. Rachel?
Thank you. If we need to move the mic away, please let me know. Paul and I are just 18 months and 2 days apart in age. We grew up together, and he is one of my best friends. Knowing he is thousands of miles away on a boat, which could be targeted at any moment, breaks my heart. I think of the 40 boats of people from 44 countries, all carrying food and being targeted by drones, flash bombs, and chemicals. But now I will tell you about Paul. Our favorite pastime was exploring the woods around the house. We would ride our bikes for hours. And one of my fondest memories of him was when he stood up to a group of kids who were bullying another student at the ripe age of 3rd grade. Paul has always been a champion for those less fortunate. Even today, he is allowing a man navigating between homes the opportunity to stay on his porch. Paul is a son. He is a brother, an uncle, a good friend, a Portlander, and an Oregonian. He is a regular at the Portland Mennonite Church. He is a pillar in this community who is deeply loved by his family, all of his neighbors, and a multitude of friends. When I go to water his plants, neighbors always come up and ask about him. Courage comes in many forms. Simple courage, like coming to speak to you today. Courage to carry a banner or wave a flag. Courage to say things out loud when you are afraid. Courage to call on our elected officials and the U.S. government to prioritize our own country and stop using our tax dollars to fund a genocide. To invest in Portland, not to militarize it. Courage is publicly joining the Flotilla, knowing you will be misrepresented and even called names. Wanting to help people who are trying to survive a genocide is courage. In a small group chat with Paul's closest friends and family, I spoke of this courage, and in true Paul form, he responded by writing a poem. I'd like to share that with you today. Courage is the hand of a woman stirring a pot of beans in a wheelchair. One hand on ladle, one leg decomposing under all that once was home. Beside a husband, twin boys, and extended family who will never reach into the pot of beans she prepares. Courage is the hand of a woman holding the hand of her son. His hand, the only one he has left. Her son, the only family she has left. 3 hands, 2 souls, 1 shredded family alone. Adrift in a sea of strangers who are taught to believe that she is to blame for the bombs that stole her family, the same bombs funded by their tax dollars. Courage is not the hand of a man holding a joystick that flies a drone, that brings no joy, only terror. Inside an air-conditioned box, he plays a game, cheering his victories while all the world loses. Courage. Is it courageous to hold my hands in prayer? Is it enough to plead with God to save those whose souls are already purified in fire? No, only the prayer that begins, my God, I have forsaken my neighbors. This is the prayer of courage. When we think of this level of courage, our opportunity to be courageous pales in comparison. You may be wondering, why is he on this mission? I am here to tell you that as humans, when we see suffering, we want to help. And that is the foundation of who my brother is. A person who sees something horrific and feels compelled to do something about it. I do not believe troops being sent to Portland, the timing of it, the publicity of it, are in any way coincidental. As we watch the impending takeover of Portland, we know the same thing is happening in Gaza, and we fear the same attacks against innocent humanitarians on boats for the only crime of carrying baby formula. Funding this war is wrong. The billions of dollars we have spent on weapons could have gone to feed the hungry in our own communities. It could have gone to ending homelessness. It could have gone to schools. Organ families could have directly benefited. Organ families have the right to know where their tax dollars are going and to have a say in where it is spent. This is not only about my brother. It is about every activist, journalist, and humanitarian who dares stand up for justice. If governments can detain peaceful civilians without consequence, what message does that send? That compassion is a crime, that humanity itself can be outlawed. My fear is not just for the people on this flotilla. It is also for this country. The more we continue to provide weapons funded by our tax dollars, the more we weaken our reputation on the global stage. I fear that we as a nation will forever be tied to Israel and to this genocide. I fear hate for Americans will grow and we will be targeted in violence. This gives me fear about the safety of my daughter who is currently studying abroad. I fear if we do not protect these humans, we will collectively be seen as easy targets. One of the Flotilla boats is crewed by U.S. veterans. Veterans require our support. I fear what this says to the men and women who defend our country when we are unwilling to support them in their time of need. I ask myself continually, what have we become? When does this stop? I keep thinking of the people in Palestine, but other parts of the world, and even in Portland, when did we become so unwilling to see each other and embrace our shared humanity? I know our struggles are interconnected. While this statement may not be enough, I hope that my courage influences change, because now more than ever, it is a time for courage. This is me and my weapon. I'd like to turn it over now to Tay and Shea for